RealAgriculture.com is proud to present coverage of the 20th anniversary of Canada's Outdoor Farm Show in Woodstock, Ontario.
So we're here with Pat Lynch at the Outdoor Farm Show at the Tillage demonstration. Pat, another big crowd.
Another big crowd.
Another big crowd. Talk about the objectives for this year's show.
What we were trying to do is demonstrate some of the new equipment and some of the equipment we demonstrated, a couple of years ago. And there's such an interest in conservation tillage that we felt it was time. And I think certainly the number of people that are here certainly showed the interest. What we are trying to show is how to manage residue without moldboard plowing, increase yields, reduce erosion, and prevent the phosphate runoff that is occurring with no-till. So what we are doing is working the soil, putting the residue down, and leaving the residue in the soil in a way that's not going to erode.
Now, Pat, we've had about 1,000 people through this demo in 2 days. You've got 20 manufacturers. I almost got ran over filming. What does this tell you about farmers' interest in tillage?
Phenomenal, phenomenal. I'm a bit surprised. I see a lot of good changes coming, a lot of things that we have to do in tillage, a lot of things that are happening, exciting things that are happening, and the equipment people are interested because they're selling equipment. The farmers are interested because they want to do things better. Farmers are very conservation minded, but they want to make money. And what we're doing now is a combination of good soil conservation techniques that increase yield and make more money. And the other thing with the tools we're seeing here, one person can cover many more acres than they could before. And most of these equipment can be, changed on the go. So as long as the driver has a basic concept of soil and tillage, they can make changes going down the field, which you could not do with a moldboard plow. You can't even do it with no-till equipment. But because of the quick adaptability of this equipment to be able to change on the go, these are just phenomenal pieces of equipment.
Now, I was going to ask you about trends, what's happening, what you're seeing here at the show, but what I'm hearing, is that ability to change, to do multiple tasks with these pieces of equipment.
Yes, and the other thing is we have to plant in a hurry. We've got maybe 100 hours of good planting time in the springtime. And this past spring, those 100 hours were a little bit later than normal. So really, whoever plants first, plants best, plants fastest wins. And these new tillage equipment warm the soil up. And I guess I'm just listening to the things that were being said. The thing that is really being done is we are working the ground shallower. When the pioneers came first, they were working the ground about 4 inches deep because that's all a plow could do and that's all the horse could pull. And then we went to bigger plows, bigger horsepower, but we had to plow deeper. Now we've gone back to bigger horsepower, wider width, but we can work that ground shallow. And that's what this demonstration is about, is working it shallow just to get all the things we need to get better yields and to make more money.
Final thing, from an agronomic perspective, what are you telling farmers to think about when they come and look at something like this?
Okay, absolutely phenomenal question. Number one, tillage is an art. It's not a science. And you can't have somebody, either myself or an extension worker or a government researcher, this is the type of tillage that you should be doing and this is how you should do it. Absolutely nonsense. Tillage is an art. And once people understand that, they understand the concept. So different producers will take the same piece of equipment, the same soil, and work it different ways. And what I'm telling the producers is these companies here today, they said, send the farmers back to our booth and we will do an on-farm demonstration for you. When I take a look at all the possible adaptations and configurations of these tillage tools, there's no way that you can set it up for all fields. So I'm telling the farmers, go to the dealers, look at them, get a piece of equipment set up for your farm, and then make the adjustment. And the other thing I'm doing, as I'm telling them, you know, many growers that have got 500-600 acres, they can't afford, you know, $60,000, $70,000 in a tillage equipment to do a few acres, you know, 200 or 300 acres. But the equipment companies, the dealers will rent these pieces of equipment. And not all dealers will rent, but there are enough dealers that will rent tillage equipment for the fall that this is a way of doing it. Because we know in 5 years from now there's going to be better tillage adaptations. In the meantime, many growers should rent equipment, and if they rent a piece of equipment they don't really like it, rent something else. And if you're large enough, rent 3 pieces of equipment and see which one of them you like before you make your final decision.
Great stuff. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.